All right, Dan Cochimilio here, along with Eric Romo on the NorCal Sports Network. And today we're going to be talking about a recent article that came out in FanGraphs ranking the top 49 prospects of the San Francisco Giants. Eric, let's get right to it with
Yeah, let's do
these
it.
prospects here, and we'll pull that up here. As you see, as says the San Francisco Giants top 49 prospects. And we move to number one on the list, and it is Luis Matos.
Matos.
Interesting. Most
Yeah,
places
that's
that rate
surprising.
the Giants either put Luciano or Kyle Harrison at the top.
Right.
But Matos, they're giving him a score of 55 using the scouting world. They generally use a 20 to 80, 50 being average. Anything over 50 is going to be an above average player. You get into the 60 range, you're looking at an all-star type player. And so they're giving Matos, Eric, 55 overall.
Right.
Matos was signed in 2018 out of Venezuela. Um, he had a rough year last year with some injury issues, but he's rebounded in a huge way so far in 23.
And what's interesting, Dan, is that injury, you kind of got that from him when you had a little interview with him down at the, what was it? Wasn't spring training. Was it fall league, wasn't it?
It was in the Arizona Fall League,
Yeah.
yeah. And Matos had a calf injury last year and was not able to really get any power from his legs, or was just had a hard time with it, and compensated for it, and had a rough year. But this year he's moved up to the top of FanGraphs rankings for the Giants.
Yep.
And we've seen him up here now for about close to 3 weeks with the Giants. He's playing, pretty much a flawless center field.
Yep.
Looks very comfortable out there. Has made some very nice plays. Kind of glides out there.
He sure does.
In center field. Also, his bat speed has shown up a couple times with especially when he hit his first home run, which was an inside pitch. He just
He turned on that.
He turned on it, yeah, and I think it even mentioned that in here.
They talk it right there at the bottom of that last paragraph. Yeah.
Last paragraph, it says,
at the minimum,
yeah,
we expect him to perform to Manny Margot. He was a decent center fielder. I remember, wasn't he with the San Diego Padres, if I remember?
Yeah, it's with the Padres, and then got traded to which I can't remember. He was in the playoffs. I remember seeing him.
But they said he was be able to yank the inside pitches, probably because of that bat speed.
Yeah.
Out to his pull side, which would enable him to hit for more power than Margot and produce like an above average center fielder. He's going to develop a little bit more. Maybe, this is, their interpretation of where I think they said that's like over 6 years is that ranking, when they give him that 55. So you never know. He could develop into something. He's only 21 years old. So I mean, after 6 years, he's going to be in his prime. So, and we noticed that it said he was 180. And I think the Giants had him at 160. So he's definitely put on some muscle weight. And I think the more he puts a little bit on, the more strength he'll have in that string. And, we'll see some more productive.
Right. And by the way, this came out June 30th. So this is, we're doing this right now. It's July 2nd. So this just came out a couple days ago.
Absolutely.
Kyle Harrison here, ranked number 2, starting pitcher out of De La Salle High School in Concord, California.
Local kid.
Yep. My hometown, Concord, California. Actually, he went to De La Salle. I think Harrison might be in the Danville area or something like that, but he definitely attended De La Salle there in Concord. They've got him, his fastball sitting at 93 to 95, topping out around 98. And Fantastic. It plays up thanks to its shape and the deceptively low left arm slot Harrison hurls it from. A little bit like Chris Sale is a comp that some people are saying about Kyle Harrison.
How about a pass giant. How about Madison Bumgarner? He had that low 3/4 release from the
Yeah.
left side.
Yeah.
And that's something that's one thing Bumgarner didn't do. He didn't overpower people with his fastball, but it's that deceptive arm slot that he had.
Yeah, I think the one area of concern as we look at this is the command is a little below average right now.
That's something we've talked about on post games. Yeah.
And the changeup, if he gets that changeup up to 55, 60 on the scale, he's going to be really, really tough. So
absolutely.
And then moving on to third in the lineup is Patrick Bailey, who everybody who's a Giants fan has seen that Patrick Bailey, I think they've got him way wrong here on fielding. They've got him as average. I think Patrick Bailey gets closer to 60, maybe even 70. He's and his throwing. We've seen, they've got him at a 45, which is below average. That's off. We've seen, hey, we saw a stat last night that Patrick Bailey has thrown out more people, trying to steal than any catcher in baseball in the last couple of weeks.
Yep. Absolutely. It's crazy. And, guys like Sean Murphy, who got a big free agent contract from the Braves. And it's fantastic to be able to see him. I mean, it's just, we've talked a lot about him in the post games because he's just come up with some great heroics.
Most runners caught stealing since May 19th, which was when Patrick Bailey debuted. Patrick Bailey is at 11, the highest in Major League Baseball. He's caught more people. So maybe his arm is not as strong as some catchers. Maybe that's where the ranking is. But his quickness, which should move up his fielding number way up. I mean, he is so quick out of the crouch. They were saying last night that in the game, Buck Showalter, when Bailey threw out Sterling Marte in the 9th inning on Friday night, that Buck Showalter said he had him timed at 1.7 seconds from catch to throw to the play.
Wow.
That he said is the fastest he's ever seen in his career.
Wow. And that's a long career.
You're talking about from Buck Showalter. So
yeah, exactly.
I think incredible. FanGraphs has got this way wrong. So
you see, they owned up to it. They said it's time to eat double crow here. So they see that they probably had some mistakes here.
Where are we seeing that? Down in
and there it even says right there, right at the bottom, it says overall offensive up is comfortably above the everyday bar at catcher and could be top 10 at the position during his peak. He's likely to be a rock solid primary catcher for the next decade and a half or so.
Very good.
Or half decade or so, I should say.
And Marco Luciano, they have ranked 4th. Everybody who's a Giants fan has been waiting for the day for Marco to come around. His raw power is off the charts. He's got a way above average. He's at a 60, so that's an all-star level. His game power is showing in a scale of 30 to 60. Not tremendous speed running, a little below average. They've got his
fielding,
hitting.
And I think they got his fielding at shortstop, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they are.
I know he's had some issues at shortstop as far as fielding.
Yeah, perhaps the most important development they say here is that Luciano looks better at shortstop than he has in the past. He still isn't great at backhanding grounders to his right, but he's playing much lower to the ground now than before he rehabbed the injury, talking about his back injury, and looks much more comfortable fielding choppers in on the grass. He had been projected to right field in our last update, but third base, where Luciano can make most plays moving from right to left, is now his floor. So it's a big deal that he stays on the dirt, especially with his uptick in strikeouts. Luciano's bat speed is incredible, but his barrel accuracy is not.
There it is right there. He tends to swing through down and in portion of the zone, struggles with anything away from him, and he can only pull hanging breaking balls and tends to shoot the rest of his contact to center field and the opposite way.
Yeah. Now, the prospect that a lot of people aren't even aware of, because the Giants just drafted this youngster.
Oh,
He's
I
only
know.
17, but they have him ranked 5th. He's 6'2" kid and 185 at age 17.
Mm,
Rainer Arias out of the Dominican. Uh, he is not projected to be at the major league roster until about 2028 is the timeline, which would put him, roughly at 22. Uh, would not surprise me if he's one of those guys that makes it a year earlier at 21. Um, I'm going to get down there and see him
yeah, I was just gonna
uh,
say. Yep.
here at Papago. So I would like to get a chance, in the Arizona league. So this is a kid that swings incredibly hard for a player his age, and already has the ability to put balls out to right center and do big
That's
damage with conservative footwork.
that's good. That tells me he has already a good approach. So there's not there's not big adjustments that he has to make in order to succeed. I like to hear that.
Yeah. The last line says he's a potential middle of the order force who was a
Mhm.
clear stock up guy from the moment scouts laid eyes on him on a field with other pro players. And
That's
then
awesome.
we look at number 6, Carson Wisenhunt, who's pitching right now for the Richmond Flying Squirrels. His big thing is his changeup. Look at that, right in the middle there, 60 to 70.
Yeah.
That's an above average changeup. And it says right at the top, Wisenhunt's changeup is the only logical place to start his write
Exactly.
up. It's long been his signature bat misser, with several small samples hinting at its quality, including uh, narrowing whiff rates above 70% during his time with Team USA and in his short low A stint last season. The changeup sits in the mid 80s with late tumble that makes it seem to disappear at the last second. As some people call it, a 2-level changeup.
Yeah, a double
Um,
plus or a plus plus, double
yeah,
plus, whatever. Yeah.
yeah. It says it disappears like a bad egg at Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
That's a great. I like that
Uh,
description. That's great.
While the changeup is what got Wisenhunt on the fast track, improvements to the rest of his arsenal are what will keep him on it, specifically sustainable honed command and better results on a fastball that has thus far generated chase, whiff, and strikeout rates all around league average. The Heaters averaging about 94 this season. Um, while it still accounts for the highest percentage of his pitches, the fastball is best described as a setup pitch for the changeup.
Change.
So, and then,
They kind of say that he needs to develop if he wants to be a really good starting pitcher. That he needs to develop a third pitch, probably a slider, curveball, or something that's gonna play off the changeup and the fastball.
yeah, a couple guys they want to go through the list here.
Yeah.
Let me pull up to the.
How about that one guy we talked about in yesterday's live? We were following him, Mason Black.
Yeah, I want to look at the list here.
Oh yeah, the big list. There you go.
Yeah, so we'll pull up the big list here. We've got, um, you see, we covered the top 6. Obviously, Casey Schmidt's up. Landon
Landon
Roop,
Roop,
he's a pitcher at Double-A as well, who's been doing really well. He's 24, almost 25.
25,
Then you see Wade Meckler on the list, who's
aka
hitting.
Mike Schmidt.
Yeah, this kid Everson, however if I pronounce it right,
Arteaga,
Everson
Arteaga,
Arteaga. He's a shortstop who is just projected about 2 years away, only 20 years old. So he's supposed to be a dynamic fielding shortstop. Let's take a look at what they're saying about him. A little bit more details here. Let me
Sure.
scroll up here to number 10. Oops, got a little. Okay. Um, his fielding, they say 40, but he's not a power guy, but he's got a really good arm. They're saying that interesting. They're saying isn't a slick fielding future Gold Glover by any stretch, but he's a suitable shortstop defender for his age. That's not what I've heard about him. I've heard he's pretty good fielding shortstop, but each team or group that rates these guys has a different opinion. But the way he's trending and his age relative to the level are indications that things are getting better in this area and will continue to do so.
And he's still pretty young. I mean, 20 years old. He's still got a little bit of time there to really develop.
Another guy I wanted to talk about, Von Brown. We've kind of touched about him on our regular streams that we do.
Yeah, you interviewed him down in spring training too.
Yeah, look at his run, 70. This is a fast burner that can move. He's 25 years old. And they got him at 6'1", 150. I got to say he's a little more
bigger
than that.
150, yeah.
Yeah, he's probably about 160. But Brown has some swing and miss issues, which is going to have to correct. But he's sharing outfield with Grant McCray, who actually is at a lower level. McCray plays an electric center field. So Giants have Matos and McCray and Brown. What that means is that one of these guys could end up getting dealt in a deal for maybe a frontline pitcher. The one other guy I want to talk, Keaton Wynn, is a guy I'm real high on. Look at that splitter, 70. And we saw it the other night, and we're going to see more of it.
He just needs to come in there. See, that command is kind of once he commands it, it's going to be deadly. Absolutely.
And he's getting better command of it. We're seeing he's able to throw it for a strike. So Keaton Wynn is a definite rotation piece for the Giants' future, maybe even the present, and could be a guy used in a trade as well
maybe for a top line.
Top line pitcher. Reggie Crawford, another guy that Giants are really high on. That fastball sits at a 70. It tops out at 102. This is a guy you're going to get really excited about. I think, they drafted him as a possible two-way player. I don't see that happening, nor does minor league director Kyle Haynes said if he had to bet on it, he would think that he'd be just a one, as a pitcher. We see Sable in there 15. I'm looking for
Mason Black. And that's the guy we need to talk about. Okay. There he is.
And we'll kind of end it here with Mason Black. We'll give you the list at the end, kind of show you all 49 on there. But in detail, Mason Black last night, Eric, threw 5 perfect innings.
Yep, and then they pulled him. Yep.
Yeah. So they're watching
8 strikeouts.
Yeah. And this kid now has over 22 straight innings of scoreless baseball. And he's at Double-A. So this is a guy that could see Triple-A here very soon. And quite possibly,
up at the
if
big
the
league,
Giants needed, a starter with the injury problems they've been having, could make it up to. And I would think that he's going to be here at some point by next year. Even it says right here, if he ever moves to the bullpen, Black will be a typical fastball slider reliever with 2+ offerings. Nice. His command is good enough to continue developing as a starter through 24. His 40-man evaluation year in the hopes that a better third pitch emerges. All right. So let's go to the full list and kind of go over that, and then we'll wrap it up here.
Sounds good.
But if we look at we just covered the top 6 there with Matos all the way through Wisenhunt. And standing out, we see some guys here, Grant McCray at 12, Wynn at 13, and Crawford at 14. Mason Black, we just covered at 18. Some guys as we move down the list.
Ryan Walker.
Hario, Walker's been up. He's 27, but Hario Pomares, if I pronounce that right, he's a 23-year-older who's hitting. He's got a really good bat, and he's down at A+ ball in Eugene. They've got another catcher in the system, Ricardo Genovez at Sacramento, 24 years old. He's actually ready to, he's major league ready as far as catching.
He's a
And then we got,
backup for in
yeah,
case something happens. Yeah.
and R.J. Dabovich, the reliever out of Arizona State, comes in at prospect number
Elliot
36.
Ramos, unfortunately, he's really dropped off there.
Yeah, Ramos dropped all the way to what number?
38.
38. There he
He was
is.
in the
Okay.
top 5 for a while.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then you see another catcher down at 46 who I saw in the fall league last year, Adrian Sugusti. And, that about wraps it up. But look for some of these guys in the top 15, even top 20, to be up with the Giants ball club within the next 2 years.
And not to mention, you might see some of these guys moving depending on what happens here at the trade deadline as well.
Right. Now that some of these guys are starting to develop, it gives them more ability to go after some of the players that they were unable to go after in the last couple of years. So,
and one quick point to mention before we sign off here is, what's awesome to see is the Giants are bringing these guys up. We haven't seen that quite in the past, seeing these prospects coming up and, actually contributing to the big league club. So it's nice to see.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. It's great to see those guys. So anyway, we just wanted to bring this video out to you guys with the Giants farm system and what's on the horizon. So,
and if you want to join the discussion, leave a comment below. We'll talk about it, see what you guys think.
Yeah. And if you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. We cover everything in NorCal sports. Right now, it's middle of the baseball season. We're coming up in the dog days of summer, approaching as we approach the All-Star break next week. And it could be a very exciting season for the Giants. So look for us here on the NorCal Sports Network. After every Giants game, we do a post-game wrap-up, and we're here, and you can join the chat. And we even allow some of our callers to come in and join us right in the live stream.
Yeah, join the discussion. It's awesome.
Yeah. So for Eric, Dan Coach Miller here. Thanks for watching, guys.